Crashbones, welcome to Unknown for the Most Likely. We were supposed to have artist known as Drugbeard on the other day. However, time frame was really bad. So, anyways, we were scheduled for today with Bent Windows Records, and here we are today. Nick, the creator of Bent Windows Records, has a great amount of amazing music and a great amount of artists and stuff like that. We got a lot of noise artists, a lot of black metal, a lot of raw punk, a lot of raw stuff on this label. Out of Vancouver, British Columbia. I might be wrong correct me if I am wrong, but yeah. Definitely go definitely check them out on Bandcamp. Everything, all the music on there, the music that is all supported on that label, Morbid Beauty, so on and so forth. Anybody out there?
Hey, everything's working. How's it going?
Right?
Okay, you can hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we got this figured out. Yeah, it's been really a hectic couple of weeks and stuff, but yeah, I'm glad we can actually get this figured out. So the first thing is to ask you is, what are your Friday plans, and what are your new listens? What have you been listening to lately?
Oh, Friday plans. I've just gotten off. I sort of took a week vacation. My wife and I went to Portland. We're back now, so today is just like a free day. We didn't take the whole time of my vacation up, but it's nice just to have a bit of time off to kind of mull around the house. And I think my mother-in-law is coming over later for dinner. It's like not exciting today or anything, but and as for what I'm listening to, I bought a bunch of stuff there. Some of it's sitting here. The Ebony Pendant, black metal. I'm pretty picky with black metal, but I think this is really good.
Yeah.
This one's in the tape deck, so it's empty. But Ascended Dead, if you ever listen to these guys, really great. Just pure death metal.
Sick.
This I haven't listened to yet, but it's in my queue right now. It's this Merzbow album.
Oh,
Mers Buddha. This one I kind of peeped online, and it's a little bit more of like a remix, kind of like there's a little bit of beats in there, so it's not as purely noise. But I'm looking forward to it. I always grab Merzbow stuff.
All right, sweet.
Bunch of crap too, but yeah.
So before you ever started your label, what was your first favorite label you were listening to when you were growing up?
I think in my teen years, getting into death metal, kind of like got into the bigger acts like, Cannibal Corpse and Morbid Angel. And then, you kind of, I think through way of like either reading like liner notes and CDs or reading episodes of Metal Maniacs, read interviews or whatever with those bands and other bands of that style. My friends and I came across, and I just kind of posted about this recently, about Relapse Records. Specifically in the 2000s, there's a release, I have it maybe sitting around here somewhere, Contaminated 3.0. It's like a compilation of all the stuff they had done up to about like 2000-ish.
Okay.
2001, 2, somewhere in there. And so it's got, it's got on that release, it's like, early Dying Fetus before Jason Netherton left.
Okay.
Like Carnage, Incantation. So like that was my first like real whoa, this label is like pretty awesome. And then when you look inside the sort of booklet, there's actually a section with a bunch of noise releases. And I didn't know, I think at the time, this is 2000, probably 2000, like 2001, like I didn't know really what noise was. Like the concept seemed, not too foreign, like, oh, it's like, just noise. And so that kind of pointed me towards like kind of noise and stuff too. So I think that era of Relapse Records, where it was like, I think before they did the Mastodon stuff and before they, it's kind of like this like post era or pre era, I guess. Relapse to me is like this really in my opinion, golden era, like Exhumed, who's still on Relapse. You know, they released, Slaughter Cult and Enemy's Destiny. Like those, like that time period, in my opinion, is just like flawless. And
Yeah, sure.
you know, I find that like part of what I do with Bent Window is sort of like directly influenced by that era. Because to me, it was such a whoa, like what am I getting into? I already knew the kind of like big staples of extreme music, but then it was like, you know, it wasn't even that. I guess maybe back then it was a little more niche, but that leads you further down, you know, that further down that path, you know.
Yeah. For like, you know, for like probably like your music, you probably like, you know, listen to. We're going down that path. Would you have anything that you really regret listening to, and go back and listen and say, wait, I listened to this growing up? Shit.
Yeah, like, you know, I'm not gonna lie and say like, you know, I wasn't into new metal. New metal, like I heard because, like I'd say like 100% new metal that I listened to when I was younger. Because, yeah, I mean, you know, you were looking for heavy music. My dad played in like a 60s, 70s rock band, like psych rock band, and so that kind of louder guitar stuff was always around. If you're just a kid who's like, you know, I don't know what to listen to, but I like that sound, you're going to gravitate towards something that sounds heavy. Something that has a lot. So I think a lot of those like kind of new metal bands, you know, I hear it on the radio or you see it on Much Music, right? You know, oh, okay, I guess this is what I like, but, and I wouldn't say like a shame, like it's just a process. It's a continual movement of your tastes. It's stuff that I look back now and I can't find anything in it. But as a younger person, I think it was sort of like the spark, you know what I mean? Where, you know, I had heard all the kind of older stuff and my dad was into, and I liked it, but I was like, well, what's happening now with loud, you know, any sort of loud music that's weird and out there? Yeah. And that was definitely, you know, an entry point. So
I think Canada has definitely been needing a little bit more of, you know, more experimental and more like noise-driven type of stuff too. Like we've been really hush-hush, like, you know, once in a while, Blue Moon type of stuff, and I haven't ever seen it anywhere around Saskatchewan ever. It's just like, I think it might have started in Japan and then went to America and then went worldwide.
Well, I think there's a lot of like different paths and how kind of noise developed. I mean, like being in Vancouver, it's like the history of noise here is like, you know, not like too seasoned to go back like even farther than, you know, the 90s or maybe even 80s, but like, you know, you have the Rita is like from here, you have Taskmaster, you know, you name dropping all these like bigger Vancouver noise projects. So, you know, some of the members are still in Vancouver, some of the people aren't. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of like good noise. Like there's like Disaster Sources is a label. Screaming Rye, like
shout out to Screaming Rye. Yeah, one of my favorite. The Distro's great. Anybody can go check them out.
Yeah,
go give them a follow.
Stuff like pretty regularly. Like Murmur, obviously Neural, Rusalka. Yeah, putting out Rusalka, re-releasing that Rusalka CD. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. I think it's just like, you know, I think it's big. You know what I mean? Like I think it's and that's what makes it kind of cool. Is you have to put the work in, kind of thing. Like and that's always how I've thought about extreme music. Like you got to put the work in. And it's always more, you know, exciting to find something that's you have to really build a personal relationship with. You may even not like it right away. You might get a CD or tape, and you don't know kind of know what it sounds like. And then you give it time, and sometimes you can just trade it if you don't like it, or sell it, or maybe you build a relationship with that album because it has to hit you at the right time. You know what I mean?
What was your well, when you started Bent Windows, and when did it all start actually?
Well, the idea kicking around in my head for a long time. Just an idea of like doing something like a label or like putting out my own stuff. The real kind of like genesis is my dad passed away in 2020. unrelated to COVID, but he passed away. And I think it was kind of me finding a way to deal with his impact on my life, because he was a musician. We grew up, talking music, listening to music, and I would show him bands I was into, and he would come see bands I was in play live. And it was sort of like at that moment when he passed, it was like I have to really, I can't let this really like push me to a point where I'm feeling, just despondent or anything. There's sadness, of course, in your parent passing, but you have to really work to deal with those feelings. And I thought, the kind of way I deal maybe the best is throwing myself into work and just working. And I have a full-time job, but on top of that, I was like, I need something to really carry me, and I thought, I've always wanted to kind of do a label. And I thought it was the right time. I thought it was just the right moment. It was just, strike while the iron's hot kind of thing. It was like, okay, it's in my brain. I've just got to get started,
That's awesome. It's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, great music. You've put out a lot of, and you support a lot of great music, and thanks for even giving appreciation of Bone Crate too. Also, just wondering, before you ever starting a label, did you ever be in bands growing up, or any projects, or do you have any current projects you're in, or are you just running a label?
No, I mean, I first started playing in bands in like 2004, I guess, 2003. I was in the band Mitochondrion for a number of years. And then I went to another band called Hierophant, and I could just go on. And there's this like another band, No Eulogy. Like it kind of continues on. There's a lot. They were all a lot of fun. I've never really been in like a bad band or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's been a number of years of just being in different projects in different kind of modes of extreme music. And then I had a noise project. 2006. That was really short-lived. My computer got stolen with all the recordings. Oh, no, that was 2008. I was living with roommates, and I had what was maybe 2 albums. Maybe they weren't good though. Looking back, I don't remember like really a lot of what it sounded like, but that kind of went away. But now, besides Bent Window, I have my noise project and Antony. Just did a live show in my hometown of Victoria. Doing another live show here soon. I'm playing in a band called Grief Walker. It's like a sort of a larger, very simple, loud, kind of plodding, kind of sludgy band. I don't know, very big sounding. Very cool. I actually like it's really great. And it's so informal and it's so like relaxed. It's like the greatest. And then I do another project called Zothaqua. It's sort of like a dark ambient project, which I put out a release last year or the year before. Comes with a cassette and like a short story that I wrote too. So it's more of a narrative-based kind of thing where the music and the story kind of accompany each other. Backwire, which is like sort of a more experimental kind of ambient, kind of what have you. Just don't really have any limitations on that one. And I know. And then there's the Roaring Hymn, which is like a sort of I call it like post-apocalyptic campfire rock. I don't know if that
I think that's needed.
Like There's a Mercy, like Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, kind of stuff. So So I mean, they're all pretty like loose. None of them are full time, but the most full time I do with it is right now Antony, which it's kind of active and it's great. So.
That's great. And I was seeing on your story today actually about like a show coming up with Taylor Jade from Saskatoon and stuff. I was just like wondering like how long have you heard about her music for? And
I honestly don't know who she is.
You don't know, who she is?
Two of my friends, Sean, who plays in Tithe, and Andrew, who plays in The Nausea, are playing that show. So I don't know who the other artist is, but I'm so
Okay.
yeah. So
Oh,
you're recommending her stuff. Then.
yeah, no, definitely. I recommend her stuff. Definitely. I've listened to her music, and it's definitely the great same mood like Chelsea Wolfe would have. Yeah, no, there's a lot of good stuff like that. But yeah, no, Saskatoon has been underutilized with that type of music because we have people who love sheepdogs more. I think it's like that, or we like a more of a popular band or whatever and stuff like that. So like, extreme music hasn't been really ever been a focus in Saskatchewan at all and shit. So I've been really wanting to give it that like scene or something.
Yeah, it's just taking the time, putting in the work. I guess it's just about sticking to your guns, and you know. But sometimes I think there's like sometimes it happens in cities where little pockets happen and people don't know, and they're kind of freaked out. Like, oh, should I talk to this person? Are they going to be weird? So
Yeah.
you never know. Hiding in sort of like the in the background of the city, who's also maybe waiting.
Um, I don't know what time is it. We almost have, yeah, we have like at least a little bit more time left.
Sure.
I was going to ask about any of you probably get a lot of submissions from people,
Yeah.
and it's probably like really overwhelming, but it's just like how does the process kind of go into that where like when you do accept someone's or like what does go into that?
I mean, I've kind of like pretty much paused submissions. It's very like because I do get a lot, and I'm generally a pretty like open-minded person. I do want a bit of diversity on the record label, but that being said, like not getting too far out of the bounds of like darker, heavier, louder music, and maybe there's some ambient projects too that are a little bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of fits in the realm, but I think it's I have to really hear the intention of the artist above everything else. Like I think you can listen to something and it can be good, and you can hear the sort of like they know how to construct something, but there's sort of I don't know what it is. Like there's other people I would say you can't fake the fun, and it has to sound like this is what you really have put your all into, and that you're presenting it in such a way that makes it feel, not just authentic, but that you've thought it out, that you've kind of, you didn't just draw something on MS Paint really quickly. You know what I mean? Like it's like, and if you want to do that, that's cool. I'm not disparaging anyone from doing what they want, but just in terms of the label, like, for me, I listen to I have tons of records. And it's like, I kind of know what I like and what I don't like. I guess that's like, I think, what's Iron Lung Records has that sort of saying, but but it's true. Like, I mean, it's like, it's sort of you can look at the art and then like, generally like if I listen to something, I know if I like it pretty instantaneously, but in terms of being right for the label, sometimes I like it, but I'm not like bowled over. I'm not like, oh, I need to put this out. This would be really cool to put out. I'd really love to support this. It's, it's cool. And if it's coming out somewhere else, I might buy it. But sometimes I'll be like, yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. Like there's no like, like I don't want to think anyone who
No one would ever fan you.
This is terrible. No, it's like, it's just, I have a sort of vision in my head, and it's maybe plain than I think. But it's there, you know what I mean? It's sort of like it fits within, I think, the template of what has come before it.
Yeah.
And if I submit, like, I really suggest like listening to exactly everything on it, because I've had people like just kind of unaware of what the label is. Like it's like a rock project, and it's like I respect that, and that's cool. You want to do rock or whatever, but it's not this isn't the label, right?
Yeah.
And not like I could probably point you in the right direction, because I know a bunch of people who, digital and do digital labels and physical labels that maybe I can say like, hey, this doesn't really fit within the boundaries, but I would suggest sending it to this person. And I think that's, I think that's what label people should do if they're feeling, so inclined, But it's also hard to keep up with every single application or submission you get,
Yeah.
where I'm like doing a million things at once, and I can't always just fire off an email as quickly as I'd like to. And you also remember that, like, when I'm getting, like, I also have to remember, like, when I'm getting a submission, 99% of the time they're sending it to multiple people. They you blind carbon copy a bunch of people. That's fine, but it's people are just putting it out there to certain labels, right? Like, I feel that there's these labels. I think I would fit, and they write maybe a little bit of a semi-personalized message, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if I don't answer in time and it comes out like a week later on a different label, it's like, it's not the end of the world, right?
Yeah.
And and I think people just need to not just like focus on one label. Obviously, like, if you want to get it out there, like, do what you got to do, yeah.
Here's a really nice question. I feel like a lot of people who are on their own labels like to make money, but the thing is, I like to see these underground labels be the appreciation of music. Do you have probably any favorite artists on this label, your label, that you probably listen to a lot?
Oh, like, I think everything. Like, I release, I think, is like, everything from like Eye to the Earth up to Demagogue up to like the Harm Signals tape I did. Like, they're all really good, and it's like, when I hear the kind of digital versions, I guess, of what I'm getting, it's like awesome to listen to. But then, like, I get really stoked when the actual physical version shows up, because I do most of my production through duplication in Canada here. And that's when I feel like it's really like present with me, where it's like, I don't mind digital. I think digital has its place, but it's like the physical product for me growing up was like, because it was like the internet was around, but in order for me to like hear a release when I was in high school, 99% of the time, like, I would maybe go like to a friend's house to hear like a poorly streamed MP3, or it sounds terrible, or like I just go buy the CD with my allowance or whatever. And you might like it, you might not. You might want to go back, or you might just file it away. And I think that was actually kind of a benefit, because you'd pick something and be like, I don't know about this, put it in your collection. I have it. It's cool. Mm-hmm. And then later you're like, oh, wait a minute. Like, oh, I remember, this part in a different song that I really like. Reminds me of something on that album, or something in your head. You listen to it a few times, try to get used to it, and then you wake up humming something from it, or, you know what I mean? And I think that's one thing. It's like, it's changed with a lot of, music now. It's like, people don't take chances, and, sometimes I just blind buy things. I'm like, I'm not going to listen to this. Like, maybe I'll listen to it like a small sample of a track. Like, I'm going to buy the physical version of this, But, going back to the question about the label, like, everything, like, the new, like, today I just put out the new Moloch release, the CD. And, like, I think that's, like, such a strong sounding album. And I heard it because they had sent out, like, sort of a thing. And, like, I was like, oh, damn, like, this is right up my alley. Like, this is the kind of thing, like, for the non-noise side, like, this is perfect, I think, like, all the releases I've done are just, like, phenomenal. I think all the artists are really smart and interesting. Lars Hauer, who did a release for me, he put, like, it's just that's another one that I think it kind of went under the radar, but it's
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I see you do have the acknowledgement of Morbid Beauty and the terrifying, awesome lynch of that stuff.
He's unreal. Like, the amount of work he puts into his stuff is just awesome. And that tape I did for him is really good. It went pretty quickly too, which is really great to see. Like, it didn't, it didn't go under the radar like some of the releases, which is, it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Really great. I think I copped a tape over last summer or something like that. So I think that was like my first introduction to Bent Windows, but I think I was like really a big fan already.
Yeah.
Maybe I was trying to send something in. I don't think I was trying to spam or anything.
Oh, no.
But yeah, I don't know what else to even how to go with this, but I could say, do you guys have any plans of opening up with different genres? Do you have any new genres that you might want to bring in, or?
Yeah, like I mean, there's some, I do like dungeon synth, like a little bit, and I've been in contact with a couple of people who've done some dungeon synth that kind of crosses more to me into like a dark ambient sort of uh, realm, and that's when I think like some dungeon synth is sweet, but sometimes it gets a little bit like I don't know, a little bit too like happy, and I don't know. I kind of want it to sound kind of weird and dark, and there's a lot of it, like there's a lot of like dark ambient that kind of out there that is sort of you could almost consider it in some ways dungeon synth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple of those releases coming. And they're pretty sweet. I actually really dig them. And it's just something like to kind of I like the genre. So why not?
Um, for anything that you probably do here, like I wouldn't say guilty pleasures. I would say, what's the most annoying thing you probably hear nowadays that is just radio?
Oh, you know what? It's I don't really. I think okay. I I've been playing in bands and listening to music for so long that things that I'm not like that don't I'm not interested. I tend to just tune out, and I don't really form opinions like in a negative way because it's like somebody out there is going to connect to some pop music really emotionally. So it's like it just there's things I'm like I don't really like. I'm not going to listen to that. I'm not going to go out of my way, but it sort of it sort of becomes background noise to me, and like respect to whoever's doing it. I don't it's I think that I care more about what I'm doing rather than like what I like hate or what I disagree with. It's like there's things that of course I dislike. I'm not gonna lie.
Is there a satire to some of something like you maybe hear a pop song and then you're just like you hear that and then it just like cuts into something like extreme?
Sorry?
Would you like listen to something like that is completely very mainstream and stuff like in very pop culture and then it cuts to like an extreme sound like noise and like
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm sure my wife really isn't into like metal or noise or anything, and she plays a little bit more like kind of softer stuff. But like it's like I like softer stuff too. Like I'm not more mellow. I really like, as much as I am a big fan of noise and metal, there's still like, I love Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, like one of my favorite bands. Like that's not an extreme project. Okay. And beautiful music, like all that kind of stuff, right? So it's like, I even if it's like the most like manufactured stuff, it's like whatever someone's gonna dig it out there. I'd rather them not try to force themselves to like metal or something. I mean, it's cool that they're doing their thing and they love it.
I mean, there's too many gatekeepers in music, and I feel like there was a lot of gatekeepers in noise back then, and it's just that shit's getting put to rest now, where it's everybody can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, but I think like at the same time, like when I hear gatekeeper, I also think about like like there's like a negative connotation to it in some ways, but there's also sort of like if somebody's gatekeeping, sometimes they might be just speaking from their experience and like. You know what I mean? Like there's sort of like if you feel really passionate about something,
that's what I feel,
and you wanted to defend it, and you want it to be like, hey, like we need to take this seriously. Like I think that's sometimes a little bit helpful. Like not this like super, like crazy weird militant thing or anything, but I think like you kind of put your time and effort into all this stuff, and then you might see people kind of who are just kind of maybe flash in the pan because it's seemingly whatever, and it's like you might want. I think it's okay to call that out. You know what I mean? Like I think, but in a respectful way, and be like, hey, XYZ, like, what's up with that?
Yeah. I mean, I think people take shit literal nowadays and stuff, but yeah.
It's there was I was talking with a bunch of other people about this. Like, if you're in extreme music, you're already set up to be a little bit more like defensive in some ways about what you're doing,
Yeah.
because it's automatically like 99% of like the kind of folks that are not listening to this kind of music are just going to be like, why are you listening to this? What the hell is the point? Like, oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah.
And so even when you get into like people who are in underground music, it's like, well, like, you're kind of set up with that. Not everyone's you already know that a ton of people aren't gonna like it. What's the difference between like Dave or whoever on a forum doesn't like it? Like, that's sure, why the fuck not? Like, not everyone, like, and being an artist in general, like, the minute you put something out there, you have to take everything with it. I remember when I was in one of my old bands, like a metal band, it was like a guy I knew who was like really friendly, we're really chatty. Oh, hey man, what's going on? Oh, great set, like whatever. I don't think we played. I think he played that night. We were chatting, and he stopped me, and he's like, "Nick, I just want to say something to you. I really don't like your band." And I said, "Okay." And I kept talking. Like, I don't care, like, I think people shouldn't care as much. Like, if you're
Exactly.
on your project, and somebody's like, what? Maybe say, oh, well, that person's either A, not into it. That's just not a genre they're into. Big whoop. Tons of genres I'm not into. And then B, maybe there's some advice in there that you want to take a little bit in. Like, I don't think a healthy critique is a bad thing. I think people can be critical in a respectful way. But people can also be total dicks, right? So, yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens.
But, like, if someone's going to be a total dick, I think there's more that says more about that person's, like, kind of shitty mood or something going on in their life, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, if you're getting really, like, aggressive, like, chill out, maybe you're having a bad time with something else, and they're having a bad time with something else, and give them a bit of leeway and just be like, cool, man, thanks for letting me know.
Well, I think we're going to end it here, but do you have any final words for everybody here?
New release from Bent Windows out now. Write Us by the band Molech. It's on CD and digital. Yeah, there's also Neanderthal, Follicles. I like that look. That was very intense.
If you're really talking, if you're thinking when you're talking, are you talking about Neanderthal, like that PV?
Yeah, no, but I know there is that. So that luckily there's 2 A's instead of 1. I did find that.
We got 2.
Also, Origami Swan, the new CD is out too, digital as well. There's also, God, there's so much. The new Damodog is still available. Repress of Vile Execution, Boredom Knife, tons of releases out, and check the distro too. Got tons of stuff from people all over the world. If anyone wants to do a trade, let me know. I'm very open to trades.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on, and
Yeah, no problem.
hope you have a good day.
See you, man.